Real overnight with a newborn. Our newborn is 5 weeks old, third time mom over here. But baby boy had a bad latch from the get-go, so we have to use a nipple shield. So I've resorted to using that once or twice a day to make sure he can still nurse. And I pump other times. I also pump more than what he's eating, so I thought I would put some milk away early on and freeze that for him. So right now it's around 6. I have 2 more pumps to go, which is actually I have this pump and then 1 more pump right before 9 o'clock before we try to relax for the night. Little man is in a daze right now, as you guys can hear him. I like to start the night by starting a routine with him, even though it's still pretty early, but I have found success so far. So what we do first is I'm going to finish pumping here, and then I'm gonna go start with a nighttime bath. And yes, they say don't bathe your newborn daily. I actually do it nightly because it does create that routine. He knows that when he gets his bath, it's close to bedtime. So I'm going to do that, and that usually helps him wake up. So he's dazed. Let me go get him. Oh, you're white little me. Come make your debut. Oh, he's already made his debut, of course, in the birth vlog. All right, so little man is wide awake, but if he wasn't, which he wasn't yesterday, we had to give him a bath to wake him up so that he'd have a wake cycle, which he did. He gave us a 2-hour wake cycle before he went to sleep last night, and he slept a lot better. He gave us a 4-hour stretch at the beginning of the night, which was great. So he's wide awake. He's no longer dazed, which is good. He's giving us a wake cycle now. So what we usually do is get a bath time and get some mental stimulation to help him get a little tired before bedtime. So let me finish my pump and then we'll get going. I should add, the reason we have a nighttime routine is so that he would start sleeping the night as soon as possible, basically, because we don't operate with no sleep. So it's mostly me. He hasn't been doing night times, but it's mostly me because he's taking care of our other 2 younger kids, 5 and 4. Somebody needs to tend to them. I tend to the newborn. We'll make it happen. So after we got the baby stimulated by putting those patterns and doing tummy time for baby, we go downstairs and we close all the blinds and get shower time ready for baby. So I usually love to have everything that I need here in this bassinet for nighttime routine. So I grab a few outfits. Obviously I need to use these outfits right now for bath time, but I go grab more outfits for him to have just in case he throws up in the middle of the night. It's very common for newborns to have some kind of reflex, some more than others, and some don't have reflex at all. These diapers are one of the best diapers out there because I learned from being a third-time mom not to put any diapers that may have toxins in them. Babies are very sensitive to what you put on their skin. Another thing, once bath time is over, is I put the outlet sock that basically measures the oxygen levels for a baby and keeps track of him, and I just feel so much more at ease having this, even though I am using this new bed, which keeps him riveted to his back so he cannot twist and turn or end up in the side of the bed where SIDS may happen. So I definitely have a lot of appreciation for the outlet and this new bed. So once I give him his nightly bottle, he is dazed. Sometimes he's fully awake and I just go ahead and strap him in, and I use all 3 straps. Please make sure you use all 3 straps because you don't want your baby to end up falling into the swaddle. And I turn on the outlet. I then head downstairs and clean all the bottles from the day and all my pump parts. As you can see here, I have multiple Willow Go pump parts. I take my probiotics because if you guys know my history, I've had thrush before while pumping for my second baby. So I make sure to take my probiotics to keep that away, charge my Willow Go's for the night, and then I do have one last pump of the night here, which I will prepare for. Now I'm just putting the Willow Go's together, and after I do that, I organize the bottles after they have been sanitized in my sanitizer, which luckily also dries the bottles for me. It's really important that you keep parts dry because that does harbor bacteria and all of that. So I definitely love this one because it does also dry parts. So I just got done with my last pump of the day, and I put one of my pumps in the bottle, which I will take upstairs with me, and another one of my pumps goes in a freezer bag to freeze. Then I wash the pump parts one last time so I can take a ready assembled pump with me upstairs for my first pump. I also take breast milk, and breast milk can actually stay out for 4 hours without really going bad, and I know my baby wakes up before then. The first wake up here, the baby usually gives me signs before he goes into full-on crying. He usually starts to make sounds, so I know he's about to wake up. So I go ahead and put on the pumps and then go ahead and get him out of his snoo. And I first give him some milk to kind of calm him down because he's usually very hungry. And I use that little trick to rub his nose. That usually puts him back to sleep. Then midway through, I change his diaper. That gives him enough time after waking up to go in the diaper if he needs to go. He's usually not fully full yet, so I definitely stop midway through. I take him back to the bed and then I give him the rest of his bottle. Obviously not before I set up the bed again for comfort. For me, if you have a rocking chair, great. I find comfort in my bed. I go ahead and we finish the bottle and then I burp the baby, and I usually actually burp him in between feeds. So right after I change his diaper, I try to burp him. Then after I give him the second part of his bottle, I burp him again. And if I felt like he's having a hard time with swallowing, usually babies give you a cue. I go ahead and burp him a third time, and then we finish the bottle. You get a hold of how much your baby drinks. Mine drank 3 to 4 ounces, and here his brother coming in wanting someone to go sleep next to him. So what ended up happening, which I didn't record, unfortunately my baby ended up throwing up, which again is pretty normal sometimes for babies. Sometimes they overdrink for comfort, and he definitely threw up and needed a little bath during the middle of the night. So this is me finishing up my pump. I didn't get a chance to take off my pump parts until then, so I took them off, put him in the plate to keep it clean, and then burped the baby back to sleep, put him in his bed. Here's the second wake up time, 4:58 a.m. I went ahead and fed him and put him back in his bed, and I pumped again. And as you can see here, he's pretty chilled out, and I just let him go to sleep on his own. He made a few sounds, but I know that the snoo does a great job by putting him back to sleep, especially when he's already fed, clean diaper, and there's nothing really that needs to be done on my end. I take my pump downstairs and I do pretty much the same thing. I put some in one bottle for his morning feed, and the other pump I put in elastic bags to be frozen for later use. I've been really lucky in making a large amount of milk, more than what my babies wanted, and I definitely learned from making the mistakes with my first 2 babies, specifically my first baby. And I actually created this awesome calculator that helps you determine your pumping schedule / feeding schedule for a baby. It actually calculates when you should pump for you, so you don't have to strain your mind behind with figuring out how do I equally spread out my pumps. When should I pump if I'm waking up, for example, at 7 a.m. and going to sleep at 9 p.m. And it basically calculates that all for you, also depending on how much milk you create. And as you can see, I've been able to put away a lot of milk. This is only within 5 weeks. So he woke up again around 6:33. I was going to give him another bottle and try to go back to sleep, but then my other 2 sons got up. So I decided to take the bottle that I brought up earlier that morning at 5 a.m. and just walk downstairs and just be up for the day. I'm giving him his bottle here while his brothers are chilling out right before school. And newborns sleep a lot. So here I'm putting away the bottles from the overnight milk, and I put the baby here to chill out and have his morning nap. And yes, babies do sleep a lot.